You've been at the desk for 2 hours. You hit a difficult paragraph, your focus wavers for a split second, and you reach for the distraction. The textbook stays open, but the work has officially stopped. Most productivity advice treats this like a failure of willpower. You're told to lock yourself in monk mode, watch a motivational video, or simply try harder. But these methods rely on a finite resource that eventually runs out, leaving you right back where you started. A doctor knows that coughing is merely a biological signal of an underlying infection. Addressing the cough without touching the bacteria is a temporary fix. Procrastination follows the same logic. It's a visible signal of a process happening much deeper. We can define procrastination as a biological output. It represents the topmost layer of our behavior, pushed to the surface by a psychological mechanism hidden from view. Curing the habit requires moving past the surface. We need to put our own behavior under a microscope and perform a psychological autopsy to find the source of the impulse. If we freeze the moment just before you grabbed that phone, we can see the chain reaction that led to it. The process begins with layer 1, the trigger. This external obstacle is perceived as a threat. There is a 5-second microgap where the damage is done. Your brain generates layer 2, the thoughts. A barrage of subconscious self-talk interprets the trigger as impending failure. These thoughts move fast. I'll never finish on time. I'm wasting my afternoon. If I can't solve this, the whole block is wasted. These are the immediate signals telling you to quit. While these negative thoughts feel like the cause, they are actually automatic reflexes. They are being produced by a deeper, more permanent structure at the base of the anatomy. To find the root, we look past fleeting thoughts and find the foundational rule. At the very bottom lies layer 3, the core belief. This rigid foundation dictates how your brain reacts to every obstacle. For chronic procrastinators, this foundation is often built on one rule. If I cannot follow my plan exactly as I designed it, I am a failure. It is a belief that consistency requires total perfection to be valid. This belief acts like a pressure valve. The moment an obstacle threatens your perfect schedule, the core belief creates a panic response. It pumps out toxic thoughts to convince you to stop, because quitting feels safer than continuing an imperfect session. As long as your self-worth is tied to a perfect execution of the plan, your brain uses procrastination as a defense mechanism to avoid the pain of imperfection. Curing the habit requires dismantling that core belief. We can do this by proving to the brain that the perfection or failure rule is logically and practically false. Real-world consistency exists alongside imperfection every single day. You likely brush your teeth every morning, but rarely at the exact same second. You still maintain the habit because you recognize that a slightly mistimed execution doesn't erase the value of the act. We can reinforce this through the deliberate practice of micro-failure. This involves intentionally altering your plans to show your brain that the world doesn't end when a schedule shifts. If you plan to wake up at 7, set the alarm for 7:02. If you are taking pristine study notes, write the final 2 lines with intentionally messy handwriting. These small, controlled breaks in perfection train the brain to stay calm when a real obstacle appears later. This culminates in a shift in perspective. Your human value is entirely separate from your daily output. A missed chapter or a difficult math problem is just data, not a judgment on your character. When the core belief is flexible, the trigger loses its power. Instead of reaching for the phone to escape the anxiety, you find yourself leaning in, accepting the messy reality of the work. Procrastination is a biological reaction to a rigid, broken belief. By identifying the internal blueprint that drives the cycle, you can finally dismantle it and move from a state of paralysis to one of focused action.